So, this one's gonna be again about another. Yeah. So, this one's gonna be again another episode from the jamesclear.com website, featuring the article that we actually went through yesterday as well. So, we're actually going ahead with something, because I'm always talking about we're going ahead with something, but in the end, we're actually starting something. But today, because we haven't finished up with the article yesterday, we are going ahead with the 1% rule article from the jamesclear.com website. All links, as always, are down in the description if you want to check this article out on yourself, read it on yourself. Maybe you're faster, maybe it is more convenient for you, then please check out all the links in the description. But more after the intro. As always, after the fucking intro. Yeah. I hope you're doing fine, because I am pumped. I am pumped to present you this article or the rest of this article because there's not much left. There's something left, but not that much. So I hope and I assume that we're going to finish up with this one today. Hopefully, I really have to emphasize hopefully because I don't know, sometimes I then just talk about some other things and then I just get caught up in these things, which then lead me to not being able to finish the article. But, even though it wouldn't be that bad. But yeah, let's actually start. And welcome to the Self-Development with Tactics podcast, because I've actually forgotten that, and I'm your host, Christopher Walch, and I'm cool. No, I'm an 18-year-old graphic design student from Austria, and I'm currently having my internship, and I don't like it. Never mind. And the screen is already there, How amazing can that be? How amazing can an episode start even? Especially because I also have my blanket ready, I do not have to get it or something. There's no awkward silence. I'm having it, It is amazing. It's really amazing. And I'm not drunk. No, I'm really not. I think, the first and last time I've been drunk, I think 2 years ago or something, but I don't like that, and neither do I like the people that are drunk. So I really, in general, do not like the places where people are drunk. So I do not go partying. I really do not do that, like really rarely, and it is so rare that I would even say no, I don't do it. And I do not like those places. I don't know why. I really don't know why, but I just don't like it. It might be because when you're in certain places where people are drinking, then being sober and not just being not drunk yourself, people I think can assume that it is not really funny for you. Just because you're not drunk, I know everybody else is. So it might be even this point or this fact or this variable, I don't know, but let's go ahead. So winner take all effects. So the winner take all effect. Something similar happens in our lives. So if you haven't checked out the other one as well, it is about, first of all, the 80-20 rule, so the Pareto principle, which basically means for example, 20% of the population of the world are just having the income of 80% of the whole population or of the whole planet, which means 20% of the people make 80% of the money. It is a pretty simple thing, and the funny thing is that you can apply it to such a lot of things, and this is where this article just speaks basically, because it also just said and also just pointed out where you can apply it, where you can see it, somehow similar, just to some degree. It's not always going to be 80-20% or 80-20 ratio, but it's often pretty similar, and it is often a minority just makes up for the majority of something. This is something you can definitely see relatively often. And now it is all about why winners, or basically just a really minority of the people are just getting the majority of the trophies, of the wins, and all these things. And this is now, I think, where this part of this article is going to speak, basically. I assume, but I don't know. So something similar happens in our lives. Like plants in the rainforest, humans are often competing for the same resources. Politicians compete for the same votes. authors compete for the same spot at the top of the bestseller list, and athletes compete for the same gold medal. Companies compete for the same potential client, and television shows compete for the same hour of your attention. The difference between these options can be razor thin, but the winners enjoy massively outsized rewards. So this basically jumps in at the point of, okay, explaining the rainforest. And just before he was explaining the rainforest, and there's a pretty funny thing, because I think it was like 3% of the whole species make up like 50% of the whole rainforest, which is definitely a lot, you know. And the thing is, why is this the case? And he also pointed that out, and this was really, really interesting, because the thing is, those 0.3%, I think, or 3% or 5%, something just really, really, really small, they make up for the majority of it just because it is a really strong species, you know. It is about, okay, who gets the most sun, who gets the most nutrients out of the ground or the soil, and all those factors, you know. And once a species is actually better, slightly better than another one, then not potential, but it's exponential growth kicks in. At least I believe that, you know, because the thing is, if there's a plant and the plant is getting more sunlight than another plant because it is just a species that is growing faster or growing with lower sunlight in general or growing with lower energy or just growing faster and or higher with lower energy, which then means, okay, this plant will always get more sunlight. Therefore, it's going to grow exponentially. Just because it is growing faster, first of all, and through the additional sunlight that it's getting through just growing faster, it is just growing and growing and growing and growing. And this is basically the reason why such a minority of the species is making up for just such a majority, or just a majority of the whole rainforest, you know, because those other species that weren't that strong, quote unquote, yeah, you know, they just weren't that strong, and they just kept being small, you know, and kept being just, well, actually small, yeah, you know. And the really big ones and those that just really grew rapidly, they're growing rapidly. And once they've grown rapidly, they're gonna just keep growing rapidly, but even more rapidly, or even more faster, or even faster. And yeah, this is the reason. This is the reason why it is what it is with the rainforest. So Imagine two women swimming in the Olympics. One of them might be 1/100th of a second faster than the other, but she gets all of the gold medals. 10 companies might pitch a potential client, but only one of them will win the project. You only need to be a little bit better than the competition to secure all of the rewards. Or perhaps you are applying for a new job. 200 candidates might compete for the same role, but being just slightly better than other candidates earns you the entire position. It is really the truth. Like, we only have to be slightly better. The thing is, like, if I'm thinking about school, you know, if I'm thinking about school and lazy fucking students, then it's gonna be like, okay, I'm just having to be slightly better than the other people or than the other person, whatever it is all about. And yeah, it is just really going into such a direction that that I have to say, like, okay, it's gonna be about being slightly better. It's not gonna be about, okay, what is my potential and what can I achieve? What is just the highest thing that I can achieve? It is merely about how can I be slightly better than the other people. And this just really also means that you have to see what the other people are doing, how good the other people are. So basically, just you're focusing quite a lot on the competition and not on yourself. And it is actually something that Gary Vee was talking about in a podcast that I was listening to today while I was working, you know, in my internship. And it is actually the case, like, we shouldn't really focus too much on the competition. I understand that some companies do just have to do it somehow, and some athletes maybe also have to do it. But I don't know, like, focus on yourself and focus on just being the best version of yourself in this particular area of life or this particular space of life, whatever it is, or however you want to call it, because I think it would make sense. Just being the best and, you know, at least being better than you've been yesterday or than you've been the last season, But I guess this just also leads to just being slightly better or trying to just be better and not just trying to be the best you can be, you know? I think there's just a really severe difference between just trying to be better than the last season or trying to be the best version of you in this certain area. You know, there's just really big difference, at least at my point of view. I don't know how you're feeling about this, but I kind of feel like there's a really, really big difference. A really fucking big difference. And I'm gonna go. Never mind. So situations in which small differences in performance lead to outsized rewards are known as winner-take-all effects. These situations in which small differences in performance lead to outsized rewards, okay, it is the exact same thing. Oh no, it isn't. No, okay, it is. So they typically occur in situations that involve relative comparison, where your performance relative to those around you is the determining factor in your success. Not everything in life is a winner-take-all competition, but nearly every area of life is at least partially affected by limited resources. Any decision that involves using a limited resource like time or money will naturally result in a winner-take-all situation. Really fucked up then, isn't it? But yeah, you know, you can think about it in a negative way and you can totally think about it in a positive way as well, you know, because the thing is, if you're just slightly better than everybody else, you know, slightly better than the whole entire competition that you're having, then you're getting all the prizes. And it is amazing for you. But if there's somebody that is just slightly better than you, just really slightly, just, you know, such a thin thing, then it is totally fucked up, you know, and it's totally gonna piss you off, and it's gonna piss me off eventually. And yeah, you know, but I don't know, you know, there's always a good side and there's always a bad side, and I don't know, I think learning to just focus on the good side and learning to focus on the good things in life is definitely really, 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 really important, you know, because of course, you know, if I focus on the bad things, I'm only going to see the bad things. But if I focus on the good things, then I'm only going to see the good things. And I don't know, if I just really focus on something in between, so in something in between the good thing and the really bad thing, then I'm going to see something that's mediocre, I assume, you know, but it is just what it is, you know, it is really the case. So please focus on the good things, you know, please focus on the positive sides of life. So in situations like these, being just a little bit better than the competition can lead to outsized rewards because the winner takes all. You only win by 1% or 1 second or $1, but you capture 100% of the victory. The advantage of being a little bit better is not a little bit more reward, but the entire reward. The winner gets 1 and the rest get 0. Winner take all leads to winner take most. Winner-take-all effects in individual competitions can lead to winner-take-most effects in the larger game of life. From this advantageous position, with a gold medal in hand or with cash in the bank or from the chair of the Oval Office, the winner begins the process of accumulating advantages that make it easier for them to win the next time around. What began as a small margin is starting to trend towards the 80-20 rule, which now I'm really seeing where he's heading to, because in the beginning of this article I was like, okay, what does the 80-20 rule have to do with just the fact that winners just win most of the time everything, you know, or there is this effect that, okay, if you're just slightly better, you're gonna win everything, and not only just the slightly better percentage of the reward, but the whole reward. And I'm now seeing it, you know, because the thing is, once it starts out to actually be the case that, okay, you only have to be slightly better, you're gonna be exponentially growing, or you're gonna grow exponentially. It is just what it is, because you're slightly better. And, you know, if it is about just business, I think it is just really, really easy to explain, or to explain what I'm thinking about, at least. If it is about business, and if it is then about, okay, being slightly better, then let's say, okay, you're just slightly better than your competition and you're getting $1,000. Well, you know, let's talk about $1 million. You know, you're getting $1 million just because you were slightly better than your competition. In the next in the next round or the next time, the next season, the next year, there's also the exact same pitch again. And you're winning again just because you got $1 million in the last year. Which means that just because of that, you've been slightly better. And you do not have to do so much, or you don't have to do as much as all the other people, because you have, if it is about money, let's assume it is about money, then you're just really having a pretty good start for this next season. And because of the good start, chances are relatively high that you're also going to win the next thing. And then it is really like going to, a really minority of the whole population or of the whole companies are making the majority of the income, or gaining the majority of the income or money or whatever it is. And it is really interesting, isn't it? Really, really, really interesting. Because, I think it's exponential growth, and this is explaining everything, but it just really leads to this whole 80-20 rule, or 80-20 ratio or percentage rule, which you can see pretty often in life, also in nature, it seems to be the case. But yeah. So if one road is slightly more convenient than the other, then more people travel down it, and more businesses are likely to build alongside. As more businesses are built, people have additional reasons for using the road, and so it gets even more traffic. So it's going to be exponential, just because it started to do something, or people started to just using this road instead of another road, just because it was more convenient. And I really like, by the way, that he's pointing out the convenience variable, because it is actually the truth. We human beings are so fucking convenient. It is just really insane sometimes. It really is sometimes. Sometimes, not always, but let's say often, I guess, because it is really the case. Just for convenience, we are buying shit we don't need. Just because for convenience, we are having, let's say, a dishwasher, even though it clearly has something to do with convenience, because we don't want to just wash the fucking dishes by hand. It is about convenience. It might be about saving time as well, and might also be about just being more efficient and whatsoever. But let's just really, even bad example. It was a really bad example, but I don't know. Just let's talk about buying some premium account or having some premium account for a free platform, just because you do not want to see the ads, just because it might be more convenient to just watch the whole episode or watch the whole video without having the burden of clicking away all the ads all the fucking time. I think this has to do with convenience, and I think actually a lot of people did that. Buying YouTube Premium, for example, which is, I can understand it. I can really understand it, especially for those people that are spending quite some time on YouTube. And it is I'm not having Netflix, but I'm going to buy myself Premium YouTube just because I do not want to see ads, because they're bothering me. I understand that, it makes sense for me, but it is about convenience. It really is, just the root of all the evil is convenient. No, never mind. But yeah, so as more businesses are built, people have additional reasons for using the road, and so it gets even more traffic. Soon you end up with a saying 20% of the roads receive 80% of the traffic. If one business has a technology that is more innovative, or is it innovative? I think it's innovative. Then more people will buy their products. As the business makes more money, they can invest in additional technology, pay higher salaries, and hire better people. By the time the competition catches up, there are other reasons for customers to stick with the first business. Soon, one company dominates the industry. Apple, I guess. Which, there you can see as well that being the first, whether it be on a platform, TikTok, start fucking on TikTok, being the first as a business, or having the best technology at first, and all those things just really, they just really kind of drag a high advantage alongside with them, because if you're the first one in the market, people are going to just come to you. People are going to stick to you in the whole process. If you just stay the course, and if you just stay the course of being a good company, people are going to definitely stick, because they trust in you. They have trust and experience with your product, and people are convenient. People do not want to change up the product. If another product from competitor is just similar or just really the same, has no additional things, is not slightly better or something, then people are gonna stick with the old one, because we are convenient or we trust the other company or the initial or original quote unquote company. Yeah, it is, I think, how we work, I guess, to some degree. Somehow, I don't know. Let's rap. No, let's don't. No, let's just don't. But it is what it is. It is just really the case that being first is definitely an advantage. It is not always like just an, how should I say, like, it doesn't mean that you're always going to be a thing, that you're always going to be famous, that you're always going to be a good company, that you're always going to be a high paid company or a high income company or whatever it is. But just because, there's going to be some time where the thing you've been the first in is going to be just mature, or it's going to be grown up, or it's going to be just somehow maybe dominated by somebody else that just did it better. And the point is, did it better than you're doing it, or than you were doing it, but better said, than you are doing it at this certain point of time, which just leads the business or leads the people in your business, or these people that are using your business or your product or your service, go to the other business just because it is better, just because it got better, and they just give a fuck about who was the first one in business. They give a fuck about what is better or what is maybe just cheaper. It then really, I think, comes up to what your target audience is looking for. If it is about having the better thing, if it is about having the cheapest thing, if it is about the most, bargain thing, I don't know. So if one author hits the bestseller list, then publishers will be more interested in their next book. When the second book comes out, the publisher will put more resources and marketing power behind it, which makes it easier to hit the bestseller list for a second time. Soon you begin to understand why a few books sell millions of copies, while the majority struggle to sell a few thousand. Yeah, I understand it. So the margin between good and great is narrower than it seems. What begins as a slight edge over the competition compounds with each additional contest. Winning one competition improves your odds of winning the next. Each additional cycle further cements the status of those at the top. Over time, those that are slightly better and end up with the majority of the rewards. Those that are slightly worse end up with next to nothing. This idea is something referred to as the Matthew effect, which references a passage. Is it a passage? I think it's a passage in the Bible that says, "For all those who have more will be given, and they will have an abundance, but from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away." Now, let's come back to the question I posed near the beginning of this article. Why do a few people, teams, and organizations enjoy the bulk of the rewards in life? So now we actually come to the 1% rule. But just to come back to this quote from the Bible, I assume so. And something that I just see there and I just hear there especially is that, poorer people get poorer and richer people get richer. And it might be the case. I actually don't know. The thing is, are we talking about individuals or are we talking about just like groups of people? Like the richest get richer, and the richest are probably getting richer, and the poor people are probably getting poorer. And well, the thing is, I don't know why. You could just be like, okay, the rich people do have just figured it out, and they just are telling it their children, and they just really compound their money and whatsoever. Could be the case, I'm actually believing in that, I'm really believing in that, but I really don't believe that poorer people are always gonna stay quote unquote dumb or stupid or poor just because they have been poor. I really don't believe that they're just, they're not doing anything about it, or they're not just progressing or learning or getting more knowledge with years or with generations or whatever. I don't think so. I really don't somehow. But it could be the case. I could view it. I could see it, or I can see it. But I maybe I do not want to believe in it. I somehow believe in it. I do not want to believe in it. I don't want this to be kind of true. Somehow. I don't know why. I don't know. But yeah, The 1% rule. Small differences in performance can lead to very unequal distributions when repeated over time. This is yet another reason why habits are so important. The people and organizations that can do the right things more consistently and are more likely to maintain a slight edge and accumulate disproportionate rewards over time. You only need to be slightly better than your competition, but if you are able to maintain a slight edge today and tomorrow and the day after that, then you can repeat the process of winning by just a little bit over and over and over again. And thanks to winner-take-all effects, each win delivers outsized rewards. Definitely. So we can call this the 1% rule. The 1% rule states that over time the majority of the rewards in a given field will accumulate to the people, teams and organizations that maintain a 1% advantage over the alternatives. So it is about, I see. Because I initially thought about like the 1% rule. Somehow like, I don't know, if you're in the 1% of the podcasts, you're gonna be able to make a living from it. In such a way, I thought about it in such a way. Or if you're just I don't know, if you're just in the 1% of the authors, you're gonna be able to make a living out of writing books. Yeah, obviously, somehow. But it seems to be the case that, being 1% better than anybody else is just enough, or it seems to be enough, at least in some areas of life. Teams and organizations that maintain a 1% advantage over the alternatives. You don't need to be twice as good to get twice the results, you just need to be slightly better. The 1% rule is not merely a reference to that fact that the small differences accumulate into significant advantages, but also to the idea that those who are 1% better rule their perspective fields and industries. Very important there as well, yeah. Thus, the process of accumulative advantage is the hidden engine that drives the 80-20 rule. In the end, yeah, totally. Because if you're slightly better or 1% better, you're gonna win and win and win and win, and then you find yourself in the 80-20 section, or you being in the 20 section that makes the 80 section. Or something. I don't know. But again, there are some footnotes, and I'm gonna actually there are quite a lot of footnotes. Do I want to read them? Is it necessary? Well, let's read it. The first one is, these numbers are covered in Pareto's book, Cours d'économie politique. So it is French. I'm not speaking French, I'm sorry. The second one is, Pareto published this discovery in 1906 in a book titled Manual of Political Economy. As I noted here, the 80-20 rule does not mean the numbers involved must be 80 and 20. It is just a shorthand way of referring to the idea that the majority of the rewards go to a minority of the players. The third one is, the Pareto principle shows up constantly in sports. In the National Football League, the top 19% of the franchises have won 57% of the Super Bowls. In Major League Baseball, the top 20% of the franchises have won 62% of the World Series championships. The fourth, Global Wealth Report by Credit Suisse, or Swiss, I don't know, I think it is not Swiss, but it's Swiss, from October 2013. The fifth one is US Desktop Search Engine Rankings by Comscore, October 2015. The sixth one is, this pattern shows up in negative ways as well. In 2002, Microsoft analyzed their software errors and noticed that about 20% of the bugs cause 80% of all errors, and 1% of bugs caused half of all errors. This quote comes from an email sent to enterprise customers by Steve Ballmore on October 2nd, 2002. The full quote was, about 20% of the bugs causes 80% of all errors, and this is stunning to me. 1% of bugs caused half of all errors. The seventh one is hyperdominance in the Amazonian tree flora, Science, volume 342, issue 6156, October 18th, 2013. The eighth one and last one is, in this case I mean better as in more advantageous. Obviously this includes factors besides skill and hard work. You can also be better in the lucky sense. It is better for a plant to be born in fertile soil rather than a rocky cliff. Similarly, it is better to be born into a culture that values your skills or into a family that can provide for you. In any case, the 1% rule still holds. Those who maintain a small advantage, whether due to luck or hard work, gradually accumulate the bulk of the rewards. And this is it with this article. And it is an amazing article. And once again, I want to point out the Against Malaria Foundation is a pretty good one. He's having some text here. If you're interested, read it. Go to the link down in the description, as I said, the link to this article, and scroll down to the really bottom of the page. And there you're going to see a text and the stats as well, because he saved 2 lives by donating to the AMF, the Against Malaria Foundation. But yeah, this is going to be the end of the episode. And I think it's been quite a good episode. And the speaking part was quite off sometimes, or I at least felt it to some degree. I don't know why actually, but I'm actually pretty dark, and I should have turned on the light, and I'm sorry for that. I'm really sorry for that. But yeah, I wish you the best health, of happiness, and also success. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself on how you're gonna be remembered. So basically your legacy, because we can shape it, we can form it with our hands, with our force, by being nice, by being whom we want to be remembered as, or something. But the thing is, no matter how nice you are, or no matter how generous you are, or how matter whatever you are, there's still going to be someone that is not believing in you. There's still going to be someone that hates you, that doesn't like you at least. There's still going to be just someone that is not seeing what you're seeing in yourself, or that you are willing to let other people see in you. But yeah, also think about your purpose, and some questions that might help you are: why are you on this planet? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? And the last question, you might also find a business idea. So look forward to that, And also just tell me in the comments if you want to, and or hit me up on any social media platform you like. And tell me about your experiences, and also tell me about what you have found to be your purpose. It would be interesting. I'm sorry. But yeah, I really have to thank you for going through this with me. I'm really, really, really grateful that I'm able to do what I'm doing right here. And yeah, I think especially with the podcast, I'm able to help some people out here that are just willing to gain some knowledge, or willing to gain something. I don't know. But yeah, I see you the next time, hopefully. Subscribe if you haven't. Also subscribe to the podcast if you're listening to the podcast right now. Rate the podcast and like the video, or rate the video. If you haven't liked it, dislike it. If you liked it, like it. Would be amazing for me. It would really mean the world for me, or to me. I see you the next time, hopefully. I really hope.